Welcome to this week's Session Spotlight. I'm Paige Taylor. This week, the House passed Senate Bill 1027 for the final time, sending it to the governor's desk. This bill would bring changes to the citizen initiative petition process. It would require the gist of a petition to be explained in plain language and any person gathering signatures to be a registered voter in Oklahoma and disclose whether they are being paid. The bill also caps the percentage of how many signatures can be gathered in a single county. This bill has sparked a lot of controversy, with those against it saying it makes it nearly impossible to get an initiative petition issue on the ballot, but those for the bill argue it makes sure more people are reached during the signature gathering process. Here's the Senate author of the bill during debate.
Nothing in this bill takes away that ability to move an initiative petition. Not one single thing in the bill takes away your ability to do so. What we are doing is creating a road through the wilderness. Senate Bill 1027, nowhere in it takes away that freedom of democracy. In order to do that, we would have to do a constitutional amendment. All it does is it says that the gist has to be clear and honest. Why would you not want the gist to be clear and honest unless you want one thing? Chaos. It requires that Oklahoma money and people be the ones gathering the signatures. Why do you want out-of-state groups? Why do you want out-of-state money? Why do you want these massive liberal organizations coming in here and shoving this stuff down your throat? Unless what you want is the chaos. Forces the signature gatherers to be paid not by a signature, but by an actual wage. Again, why do you want them being paid individually for every single signature rather than paying them to go do a job? It's because you want the chaos. It forces those signature gatherers to go out to areas. And while we've been hearing the bill and working on this bill, a great number of people have thanked me for working on this bill because they've never, ever seen a petition gathered in their area.
Nearly all of the Senate Democrats debated against Senate Bill 1027, begging their Republican colleagues to vote no on the bill.
This takes away their voices. This puts limits and barriers on their voices. So what we're hearing is that legislators' voices are more important than voters' voices. But what we know is politicians being in charge is status quo. That's how most decisions get made, and the people know that. The people know that. But in extraordinary circumstances, they take it on themselves on issues that matter, that hurt their families, that hurt their communities, to bring together a citizen initiative petition. It's hard. It's been hard the whole time this has been in our Constitution. But this is going to make it so hard. This is going to limit the number of rural voters who can sign these petitions, and it's going to limit suburban voters and urban voters. This is going to limit the ways we can get on the ballot with issues that matter to us. Just want to remind us that this is Oklahoma's roots. When Oklahoma was coming together, we were a combination of people who'd been forced to come here because of the overreach of federal government into tribal lands. This land was people who came here for economic opportunity, like my family, that came from a town and a place where they didn't have any assets, none, and they came here for the opportunity this state provided. This Constitution was written by farmers, by cattlemen, by laborers, and they came together and they said it matters that the people have a way to check politicians' power, that is fundamental to our establishment as a state. It's in our DNA as Oklahomans.
After the bill passed in a 39-7 vote, Oklahomans in opposition gathered to deliver thousands of letters to Governor Stitt's office asking him to veto the bill. Here's what Governor Stitt said during his weekly press conference about the bill.
Once those bills, there's a lot of bills and different processes through the House, the Senate, and maybe some of them will go into conference and still, they ways to go before they get to my desk. So I'll review all that. But as a general rule, I mean, citizens need the ability to put stuff on the Constitution. The argument is, does the whole state should have a voice or only certain counties in the state, right? And so I think there's a balance there the legislature's trying to work through.
Governor Stitt has vetoed quite a few bills this session, including some sunset extensions. One bill that Stitt vetoed has garnered a lot of attention. The bill would have extended the sunset date for the Oklahoma State Board of Cosmetology and Barbering until 2028. In the governor's veto message, he said, quote, "This bill would extend the life of the State Board of Cosmetology and Barbering, a state agency that by now should be restructured or consolidated under a more appropriate umbrella." He added that until the board becomes more transparent, responsive, and aligned with the needs of today's workforce, its continued existence should not be taken for granted, end quote. With the governor's veto and potential dismantle of the board, beauty professionals are speaking out about what this could mean for the industry and the public's health and safety.
Big thing that also I think that a lot of people are forgetting what we're advocating for is the test. So we have students that are verge of graduating that are going to be scheduled to take their barber exam or master barber exam. And it is so important that these students and the public know that there are people that are paying to go to school to be able to master the trade and master their hustle. And it's so vastly important that they have the opportunity to take these tests. They're practical and they're written, because there's so much knowledge that goes into cosmetology and barbering, estheticians and nail techs and massage therapy. And it all goes down to the safety and sanitation of the public.
We've heard from a lot of people who are nervous what's going to happen. Licensure won't go away. So I did talk to Senate staff to make sure license and permits, those laws will all still be in effect. We just won't have that board enforcing it. And so what I understand is there's a temporary procedure where it would be held under OMES. So although I hope we override that, because I think it's very important that we have thoughtful transitions. If we change things in state government, we need to make sure it serves the community and those small businesses well. I hope that people can know that those laws don't go away. Permitting doesn't go away. Licensing doesn't go away. So they don't need to be scared that it's going to be the Wild West in their industry. So yeah, I was a little surprised. I don't think it's a way to build efficiency. That's not a sound way to change government to me.
Both the Senate and the House passed the General Appropriations Bill for fiscal year 2026 this week. This is the bill that allocates state funding to agencies for the upcoming fiscal year. The governor and House and Senate Republican leadership agreed on a $12.59 billion budget for the year. Republicans have echoed each other, saying this budget was a compromise, while Democrats have said they were not involved in the process. I sat in as the House debated the bill. Here's a little bit from that debate.
Oklahomans are asking us to take bold steps to take care of them, to ensure that this state moves forward and grows. We've talked a lot about efficiency here, and we're making numerous efficiency cuts. But this is the most inefficient body I have ever seen. So if we are really concerned about those things, I don't understand why we're not looking in the mirror. This measure demonstrates a lack of inclusivity of all of our districts, a lack of future thinking, and a lack of genuine concern for the people, not the businesses of Oklahoma. If we take care of our people, not only would our businesses flourish, but so would our state agencies, so would the work that this body does. I ask that you vote no on this measure and try again with the voices of all members and all the people of Oklahoma with a vision for the future beyond the next few months or our next election cycle.
The first thing that I may take a little bit of abridgment to, Mr. Speaker, is the concept that Democrats or women were not involved in the process. That's factually incorrect. I had office hours at least once a week where we took over 130 meetings with different members, including a large segment of the Democratic caucus. We heard everybody's input. And Mr. Speaker, I think if the concept is we didn't get everything we wanted in the budget, then that is correct. But Mr. Speaker, that applies to everyone in this room. That applies to the Speaker himself, all the way down to the most freshman member of the minority caucus. There's not a single person in this room that got everything in the budget that they wanted, myself included. It is a compromise.
This upcoming week will mark the last week of session. And that's your session spotlight. For even more in-depth coverage, head over to OKCFox.com.